to apply for reopening of the defense case, maybe we should first stand down to give him the opportunity to motivate his justification.
We should stand down?
To give him the opportunity to motivate his application.
No, I thought it was by common consent.
No, as indicated, my lord, we do oppose
you're opposing it now?
The application. And it is our submission that reopening is not just merely there for the taking. The accused has got to motivate such application.
Okay.
Judge Ratha is that difficult person to work with. Even Baloyi is struggling to find his words or complete his sentences. And this video is going to highlight how many times Judge Ratha is just absolutely disruptive.
Mr. Baloyi, this court has made an order premised on the basis that you did not oppose the application. You actually suggested that maybe if we postpone it to Thursday.
With over 14,000 people watching live and gathered to pay attention to the Senzo Meyiwa case as Makhubo takes the stand, that's all we wanted to see. But I'm just so disappointed in the professionalism displayed by Judge Ratha. Did he really roll his eyes at Baloyi? Like, did he really do that? I don't know. Am I just highly sensitive to this? I don't know. It's just, I felt really triggered and really bad for both the defense and the state. I think it's an unfair work environment. He's difficult to work with. Why is this continuing to go on? Is there no HR or complaint department that they can go? This is highly unfair. I don't know. Comment below. Let me know what you think.
Remember, saying that.
What?
Hello?
Yes. No, that was in respect of legal aid, my lord. That
no, it wasn't.
The issues pertaining to legal aid be stood down. So for a few days, my words were, my lord, that the issues regarding legal aid be stood down so that this issue can be resolved. And I did mention, my lord, that precisely what Mr. Ramusipili has put on record now, that we might find ourselves in a situation where accused number one is not in the position to afford legal fees.
So you're saying the order made was incorrect?
Well, I'm just putting on record what
the state's view.
What the state view was. The court will recall that even when we were in chambers, I indicated that the state opposes the application, and the state and the court then mentioned to Mr. Ngomezolo that the state is opposing the application. What is his comment?
And fine, I'm overruling you. I've made an order, and I understood the order to say that the application for the reopening of the accused one state's case, number one's case, is granted. The order is granted.
We'll leave it there, but
okay, let's hear you.
We just asked to be heard, my lord.
Okay.
We've compiled heads of argument, my lord, in this regard, to reopen his case and call further witnesses. And the court has repeatedly referred to this case of R versus Hepworth, 1928 AD 265 at 277, wherein the court held, and we quote, that a criminal trial is not a game where one side is entitled to claim the benefit of any omission or mistake made by the other side. A judge's position in a criminal trial is not merely that of an umpire to see to it that the rules of the game are observed by both sides. A judge is an administrator of justice. He is not merely a figurehead. He has not only to direct and control the proceedings according to the recognized rules of procedure, but to see that justice is done. And we close the quotation. We submit, my lord, that an important factor to consider is that some of those witnesses might be on the list of state witnesses in the main trial.
That's exigency. Is that a fact? You remember
yes, It is a fact. For
I
instance,
asked,
yes.
if you recall, who are these witnesses?
Yes.
Mr. Ngomezulu said, hey, SAP.
Yes.
I said, who? Then he elaborated and mentioned their names. He knows the principle. If any of those witnesses who are police officers are in the list of witnesses intended to be called by the state, you know the first privilege and preference falls onto the state, Mr. Ngomezulu.
Yes.
You are aware of the principle.
Yes. For instance, General
No,
Shabani.
let him first respond.
sorry.
Because that is
Nazo, so we learn something new every day. In our last video, there were a lot of comments around why Judge Ratha asked for the names of the witnesses that Ngomezulu was going to call by reopening the defense's trial within the trial. So now we know this explanation has been given. It is because the state, they needed the list of the names because the state takes precedence. If the state and the defense team have the same witnesses, the state takes precedence with that witness, which is why we see later on that Ngomezulu could only call Warrant Officer Makhubo to the stand.
because that is the only factor which is new here. That let's read it so that an important factor to consider is that some of them might be on the list of state witnesses in the main trial. For instance,
Yes.
General Shabani, so the state must still make a call whether to call him or not. He is thus a state witness. What do you say about that?
I agree with the court to the effect that if in the event does not want to use that witness, can make the witness available
Right?
to the
What's the section 2? Who knows criminal law here?
Haibo, order in court, Your Honor, Your Worship. No ways. He did not just ask a room full of advocates and attorneys and say, who knows criminal law here? Therefore, he is implying that these guys don't know what they're doing. This is an absolute embarrassment and such a condescending statement. Would you agree? Let me know in the comments if you think that was appropriate courthouse decorum.
Right, yeah, you know that.
yes, my lord, I know that.
That's it. So,
My lord,
no, let's just listen to me.
all right.
You must confer with Mr. Baloyi about the possibility of, for instance, this very witness, Shabani, whether he intends calling him. I made a considered decision. And you know, by the way, I'm functus officio.
yes,
You know that.
That's
I've made
correct.
that decision. I can't go back. But this exigency was never considered by me. I consider the fact that there were exceptional circumstances in calling this case in the trial within the trial because it was never mentioned at any stage. You and Mr. Ba- you and the other defense counsels, you held a private meeting. Is that not so?
that's correct.
I wasn't part of that meeting, so I wasn't aware that, oh, the zombies are with the main trial or what. So I just listened to you saying that it is imperative and in the interest of justice and fairness that those witnesses required for the defense of accused number 1 be called, right? So I don't have a problem with that. The only problem which would appear to be a problem is if General Shabani, as stated by the state, is intended to be used in the main trial.
May I address the court?
Yes, yes.
My lord,
No, call your witnesses. The state, I told the state that I'm functus officio. I've made an order already.
may I call General
The court
Shabani?
should be open. I mean, the case of accused number 1 should be opened, and that the witnesses which you intended calling should be called, except General Shabani, because the state says they intend, or they may still intend using him in the
Thank you,
main
ma'am.
trial. Okay,
I understand now.
all right.
Thank you. Court pleases. May I call Warrant Officer Makhubo?
Yes.
To draw my learned friend's attention to Section 210 of the Criminal Procedure Act,
Yeah.
which
okay.
reads as follows: no evidence as to any fact, matter, or thing shall be admissible which is irrelevant or immaterial and which cannot conduce to prove or disprove any point or fact at issue in criminal proceedings.
Mr. Gomezulu is aware of that section.
Okay, so now we move on to the part where Baloyi was literally grasping at straws because he wasn't able to overturn the court's decision, allowing Ngomezulu to call the witnesses back to the stand. Well, in this case, he could only call one, which is the warrant officer, because of, the little details surrounding if that person is going to be a state witness, the defense cannot use them. So anyway, going back to Baloyi was grasping at straws. He's like literally throwing anything so that it sticks just to avoid the warrant officer taking the stand. And this is surprising because Judge Ratha takes side with the defense and says, of course, Ngomezulu knows that. That was a surprise. And, an appreciated interjection from Judge Ratha. So I'll let this one go, but at the same time, that was hilarious.
I'm aware of this. Yes.
Explain what is the DPC?
DPCI
Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation.
is Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation.
Is that common? Is that commonly known as Hawks?
Ile eyaziwa njengama-Hawks.
Yebo.
That is correct.
Where?
Yeah, but we've traversed that. If Shabani is going to testify for the state, you can't call him. Hey, please.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't call him. You know that. That's the law. You can't. You can only be called by the state. And I told you the consequences of him refusing if he's called by the state. They can use section 205 or 204, etc., etc.
My Lord, the provisions of section 3
Yeah.
are applicable of the law of Evidence Amendment Act. In that the evidence that is given by this witness, it has also been given by accused number 1.
He gave that evidence
That's correct.
himself. That's what section 3 of Act, given by witnesses. Is that also, Mr.
This witness is relating the evidence of hearsay.
No, but we're talking about accused number 1 now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm saying the evidence that is before this court in a trial, within a trial, was led by accused number 1, insofar as the General Shabani is concerned.
What did he say? I thought he never spoke about General Shabani.
He spoke about-
in the trial, within the trial. He spoke about him in the merits. He was spoken of in the merits. Mr. Ngomala, can you recall that evidence?
No, he testified about the interview that accused number 1 had
Was it in the trial, within the trial?
in the trial within the trial.
Ms. Mchololo? Right, Mr. Miyaki? Mr. Right, Mr. Baloyi, they say he did testify in the trial, within the trial, about Le Shabani.
It doesn't make the evidence of his witness acceptable. It still remains
Because he had the evidence from, who else? He hears the evidence not from accused number 1. He hears the evidence from accused, from Le Shabani, you say. You say you're told by Le Shabani. You're not told by accused number 1.
That is correct, my Lord. I was contacted by General Shabani.
Right, that's what he's saying. Yes, Mr. Ngomezulu.
My colleague.
This witness says he was telephoned by General Le Shabani and told that there is information concerning the murder of Senzo.
Senzo Meyu.
And he says he was surprised because there are 4 in that case. Why should he be
That's correct.
favored with such information? That's
So ukufika kwami lapha ngathola ngoba sasihamba naye uGeneral Shabani ngathola ebenimazwe uGeneral Sibiya but ngaleso sikhathi leso wayengasasebenzi emaphoyiseni.
Upon my arrival, as I was in the company of General Shabani, I had found a person that I knew who was General Sibia. However, he was no longer in the employment of the police.
Regarding the death of Senzo Meyu.
Manje uye wanikwa ke lolo lwazi le information le bekakhuluma ngayo ngokufa kukaSenzo Meyu.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, that is correct.
What was said to you?
Kuthiwe nguwe.
Once again,
hello.
really we object to this kind of evidence. We've already raised an objection that it's irrelevant. It's CSA evidence. We're going to leave it at that, my Lord. We're not going to raise any further objection.
Yes. In that office, what was your, after you were informed about his arrest, accused number 1?
Sorry. Mr. Ngomezulu, when allegedly did Mr. Senzo Meyiwa die?
Sorry, ma'am.
Allegedly, when is it said that Mr. Senzo Meyiwa died?
26 October 2014.
2014. That's fine.
Problem of the state, if you say this is what was said by General Shabani, it amounts to hearsay. But now what accused number 1 told the court that he was arrested on the 19th of March 2019. What actually happened? Because you cannot say what General Shabane has said. According to your own, after you have been related with the information about the death of Senzo, you as warrant officer, you as the investigating officer in this matter, what did you do?
Futhi information bebanayo beyishayisana nalo lwazi mina engilaziyo mayelana nale case.
The information that they had was contradictory to the information that I had relating to this case. Lawa ukasenzo meyo.
Ngokwazi wami azange wagcina ngokuboshwa nje kodwa azange ecourt.
According to my information or knowledge, the last that happened was for him to be arrested, but he never appeared in court.
All right. So when did you learn that accused number 1 was further arrested on the same allegations?
Manje uzwe nini futhi ukuthi umsolwa oqala uboshiwe ngazo lezo insolo lezo?
Mina ngazwa nje kuthiwa kunabantu ababoshiwe abawu5 ecasini kaSenzo.
I only heard that there were 5 people that were arrested with regards to the case of Senzo Meyiwa.
I did not mean that we must give evidence against the state, because they are also working for the state. But if you have any knowledge in relation to how a confession is taken, can you assist this court?
Sorry. I like to understand concepts. You are putting to this witness that you don't intend him to give evidence against the state because he is working for the state. Am I understanding you correctly?
That's correct. I'm
What is he
requesting
doing
this
now? I thought you said he's still a policeman.
Yes,
He's not giving evidence against the state.
he is, but
Okay, fine. As long
that's
as it's
correct.
clear then.
Can you please assist the court in relation to the procedure of taking a confession? If a suspect intends to make a confession, what procedure must be followed?
Mr. Court, please, my lord. How can
Yeah, we know that he's not a justice of the peace. I
Junior
don't
officer.
complain about that.
Yes, Mr. Court, please.
We all know the law. He said he's a warrant officer.
That's correct.
He's not a justice of the peace.
My lord, I never said he took a confession.
He said the
He has
procedure.
referred matters
Okay, fine,
where
fine.
the suspect.
Fine.
If, say, let me just clarify this because I can see there's a bit of misunderstanding.
Ususpect uyaboshwa.
The suspects get arrested,
Ngaleso sikhathi une-evidence.
and at that time you would be having evidence,
Ususpect ifana ecourt before 48 hours expired.
and the suspect should appear in court before the expiry of 48 hours.
So ufane wena njengomuntu ophethe icase umcharge before ecourt.
And as an officer, you need to charge that person before they appear before the magistrate.
Ukumcharge-ke umthatha iminwe yakhe
And charging a person, you need to take their fingerprints
nokuthi umthathe i-warning statement.
and also take a warning statement.
Yes.
Ngiyaqhubeka?
Inkinga-ke ifika la ku-warning statement. Khona la kuyiphathe i-warning statement ebhaliwe ukuthi statement by the suspect.
Manje, now the problem comes where there is on a warning statement where it says warning statement by the suspect.
Yes.
Ngiyaqhubeka?
Where's the problem?
Inkinga iba kuphi?
Ilapho ke soyamchazisela.
That is where-
somtshelile amalungelo wakhe.
That is where
Warning.
you are now explaining to the suspect after you have informed him of their rights.
You mentioned that you were an investigator in 636, First Lawrence 63610/2014, is that correct?
Uche wawukade ungumphenyi kwi-Phosphorus case 63610/2014.
Kaya ngumpheni ukhona.
Yes, I am an investigator.
But is that correct?
Kodwa iqiniso lokho.
Evidence.
Yes, it is correct.
But is it not so that you were appointed in respect of First Lawrence case 3751 of 2019?
Akusiyiqiniso na ukuthi wena ubukade uphiwe ukuthi uphenye kuleli cala lika 375/10/2019.
3751 of 2019.
3751 yaka 2019.
Le docket lika 37 Phosphorus 375/1/2019.
Yeah.
Livele masiloke siphenya Phosphorus 636 of 10/2014.
The docket of 375/1/2019 emanated as we were busy investigating the docket of 636/10/2014.
And is it correct that you are the co-investigator in that case, First Lawrence 3751 of 2019?
Iqiniso ukuthi wena umphenyi ophethe la kuleli cala lika 375/1/2019.
No, ziliphenya samabili. No, yimi noKenneth Telezi.
The matter is being investigated by myself and Colonel Telezi.
So in fact, you are not the investigating officer in First Lawrence 63610 of 2014, but you are the investigating officer in 3751 of 2019, is that correct?
Kusho ukuthi wena awusiyena umphenyi waka 63610 of 2014, ungumphenyi wecala le 375/1 of 2019.
Njengoba sengishilo ukuthi idocket le 375 liphume from ku-Foslorus case 366.
Like I said, that the docket 375, 1 of 2019 came from the docket of 636 of 10/2014.
Yes, and you carried on with the investigation in 375-1 of 2019, is that correct?
Waqhubeka ke kuphenyo luka 375-1 of 2019.
Yebo.
That is correct.
So it will not be correct to say that you are the investigating officer in Foslorus 636-10 of 2014.
Kusho ukuthi akusilona iqiniso uma kuthiwa wena ungumphenyi waka 636-10/2014.
Nawo wonke.
I have all the dockets, 636-10/2014 and the other one.
But Warrant Officer Makhubo, without belaboring the point, the docket that you are currently carrying, it's Foslorus case 375-1 of 2019, is that correct?
Uthi kodwa idokodo ewuliphethe u-375-1 of 2019. Iqiniso.
Njengoba ngisho ngithi ngiphethe u2 akhona u2 in my possession kimi.
My lord,
Akhona.
as I am saying, I have both of them in my possession.
Are you investigating both dockets?
Waphenya womabini.
Mangisebenza le case le 375. Angithi ngicala ngibheka ngapha ku 636.
As I'm working on the case 375, I firstly refer to 636.
Now, the procedure that you've outlined regarding the arrangements for the confession, that you make arrangements with your branch commander, is it documented anywhere?
Lezi inyathelo ewuthe esowukhulume ngazo ukuthi uzokhulumisana no branch commander wakho kunala ukuthi kuye kwabhalwa khona na.
Into engayiyela ngayifundiswa. Into engikhuluma la, into engayifundela.
That's-
Into esuka kimi ngayifundiswa.
That is what I was taught. It's not what I just think of or just something that I know. It's something that I was taught.
But what I'm asking you is it documented anywhere?
Uthi umshoshisi kunala iyabhalwa khona na.
Ebhalwa kulabo abasifundisa eklasini phela. Yibo abaphethe ama-module.
It was documented by our lecturers in class as they are the ones that had the modules.
You agree that the evidence that you gave regarding the arrest of accused number 1 on the 19th of March 2020, that is what you heard from other people. You could know first-hand knowledge regarding that. Is that correct?
Uyavuma ukuthi ubufakazi obuzwe ngalokho ukuboshwa kukamsola oqala nge-19 kaMarch 2019 into ukuthi uyizwe kwabanye abantu awunalo ulwazi ngakho.
Ngizwe eClorocop.
Yes, I had it in Chlorokop when I was called.
Thank you, Madam. Those are the only aspects.
Yeah, just for my interest, because I'm shocked at what you say. You're saying the minister had originally appointed 40 investigators, 40.
Uthi uminister ubekade yena eqashe abantu abawu-40 ebekade bephenya kwicala.
Before thina.
Before us, my lord.
Sir,
Yes.
did you say the minister had appointed 40 investigators?
Uthi inkantolo ifuna ukwazi ukuthi uthe uminister uthe wayekade eqashe abantu abawu-40 abaphenya kwicala.
Uminister njengoba bengishilo la. Ngithe uminister uthe bokunabantu abawu-40 kule case.
As I've said, my lord,
Wabaqosha.
the minister said there were 40 people in this case and he dismissed
All of them?
Bonke.
Bonke.
All of them.
Well, now reserve my comments. That by saying that his body was abused and sore, and that we all know that the police have a manner of assaulting you in order that your injuries should not show and be visible.
Yes, indeed. That is what is stated in the heads. And I think they go further and say it was not expected that injuries would be found on
Yeah,
the
after being assaulted by 13 men
on the
in uniform with guns and whatever. Carrying guns, in other words. Not that they assaulted him with guns. Okay,
If we can then adjourn to the decision.
we are adjourning now.
So, truth be told, I'm very disappointed at how everything went yesterday. And the main reason for that, I feel that Ngomezulu had a plan of how he was going to question his 3 witnesses. Remember, there were supposed to be 3. And then Baloyi threw that curveball that, hey, those are my witnesses. You can't question my witnesses. And I think because of that, Ngomezulu kind of lost his kind of strategy or his footing in where he was going to go with this. And the line of questions that he asked the warrant officer were really, they didn't bring anything new to light that we were not aware of. And then Baloyi does the cross-examination, and it's just, once again, more clarity and clarifications and definitions of what is a cold case. Ratha asked how many, that the police minister fired 40 people. So it's just a whole lot of back and forth, but really nothing that determines who killed Senzo Meyiwa. Also, we didn't go deep into Docket 375, which is something I was really looking forward to. So overall, yesterday, I feel we did not move any further than we already were. And quite frankly, it felt like a waste of time. Let me know if I missed out on any key points. Comment down below. Remember, if you've made it this far, we absolutely love you. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you on our next upload.